Good evening and a very warm welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. You're with me this evening, Subhajon Klinsuwan. Leader of the current ethnic group in Myanmar, or DKBA, ordered the closure of the Thai-Myanmar border along Tak province as retaliation for Thailand placing their group leader on the narcotics blacklist. The group says it cannot ensure the safety of Thais who enter their territory. General Nak Khao Muay, Supreme Commander of the DKBA, ordered his troops to close down all 12 border crossings between Myanmar and Thailand in the northern province of Tak. Deputy Prime Minister Chalerm Yubamrung, in charge of Thailand's latest round of war on drugs, put the current leader's name on the narcotics blacklist, accusing him and his cronies of smuggling drugs into Thai soil. The government also set a bounty of 1 million baht for information leading directly to his capture. Displeased by this move by Thai authorities, General Nak Khao Muay says that he cannot ensure the safety of Thais who enter the DKBA's territory along the Thai-Myanmar border of Tak province. The Thai Army battalion stationed near the area is on full alert following the warning, yet none of the high-ranking officials want to comment on the border closure since it is considered an internal matter for Myanmar. Meanwhile, the army is denying reports in some foreign media which quoted Cambodian soldiers saying that there was a clash between Thai and Cambodian troops after Thai soldiers crossed the border. The army spokesperson says the clash was between Thai troops and illegal lumberjacks. Colonel Sansern Kaew-Kamneut, Army spokesperson, told the media that the near-border clash on April 29th did occur, as foreign media reported, but it was not between Thai and Cambodian troops. Soldiers of the 23rd Battalion in Sisakhet were patrolling along the border when they encountered lumberjacks illegally cutting down trees growing on Thai soil. Thai soldiers then fired rounds into the air before the illegal loggers retreated back into Cambodian territory. Colonel Sansern insists the clash was on Thai soil, 500 meters from the border and 30 kilometers from the disputed area of Pravihir Temple. General Yuttasak Sasiprapha, Deputy PM in charge of national security, insists there were no clashes between soldiers and Thailand is ready to verify that fact. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Surapong Towichakchaikul says he will hold talks with Cambodian officials to ensure no rumors of such incidents occur again. He commented that Thailand and Cambodia should work together to help eradicate deforestation along the borders. As the rainy season is just a few months away, the Strategic Committee for Water Resources Management will conduct a field survey in the north to confirm whether water management plans upstream are on schedule. After dredging canals and removing the aquatic weeds from waterways across the country, the Prime Minister is insisting a national-level flood drill.
The Committee on National Water and Flood Policies, chaired by Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra, met with other related organizations today to follow up on the implementation of flood prevention and recovery plans in an effort to deal with the potential of more floods this year. After the committee was informed about the progress of local flood projects by related flood departments, the meeting concluded that the amount of water is expected to be less than last year. That is, a major flood is unlikely. Meanwhile, the Strategic Committee for Water Resources Management will conduct a field survey in Chiang Rai province, aiming to see if the water management plans for the upstream river sections are going according to plan and will be completed by June. Dredging the canals and removing aquatic weeds are also underway and will be completed by July before Thailand holds a flood drill, assuming the same flood levels as last year. Meanwhile, Yonghyut Vichaydit, Interior Minister, held a meeting on the drought problem, instructing provincial governors to solve the problem, as well as assuring that the amount of water available will be sufficient for consumption throughout this dry season.
Thai shrimp farmers are demanding the government intervene and pledge to purchase 30,000 tons of shrimps amidst falling prices. Meanwhile, the abrupt adjustment in the minimum wage and rising energy prices are forcing producers and retailers to seek an increase in the prices of their goods.
Despite the Commerce Ministry's affirmation that no commodity prices will see a rise, retailers are pressing ahead and increasing the prices of products that are out of the ministry's control. Following numerous recent rises in production costs, Somchai Ratanacharoen, president of the Thai Retailers Association, says that his group has asked for a 10% hike in the price of commodities to go into effect this May. Each firm is requesting a price increase on 4 to 5 categories of products. As for the product prices that the Ministry of Commerce controls, the business operators will instead reduce the size of packaging as well as amending or terminating promotions. Additionally, with soaring labor, electricity and energy costs, Thanit Sorat, Deputy President of the Federation of Thai Industries, reveals that freight charges are also expected to increase by 20%, which in turn will cause commodity prices to increase by an average of 7%, though the adjustment will differ from industry to industry. The magnitude of domestic product price adjustments, however, will depend largely on market competition, but export goods such as pineapple and canned tuna might see a surge in price. Still, small exporters can hardly increase the prices of their products because their customers will switch to buy from Vietnam, China and Indonesia instead. Meanwhile, the Thai Shrimp Association is demanding that the Commerce Ministry pledge to purchase 30,000 tons of small-sized or 70 head per kilogram shrimps at 140 baht per kilogram. This is the rate that the shrimp farmers claim the need for their survival, insisting that production costs have increased by 20% following surges in electricity and energy costs. At present, small shrimp are selling at 105 baht per kilogram, down from 130 to 140 baht per kilogram in the previous month, or roughly a 20% fall. The association is monitoring the price closely, and if it does not rise, it hopes the government will intervene to set up a pledging scheme at the end of the month. The Thai Shrimp Association also forecasts that this year's shrimp exports will grow by 10%, despite a sign that foreign importers are now reducing their shrimp purchases from Thailand because they are expecting the price to decrease further.
The Department of Business Development announced that almost 3,000 businesses have shut down in the first quarter of this year, with the number of business closures in March alone soaring by more than 100% compared year on year. The causes of it all is claimed to lie on the sudden hike in production costs, including recent sharp rises in the cost of labor and energy. Siriwat Khajam Prasad, Deputy Minister of Commerce, reveals that the March figure of new business registrations continues on a downward trend for the second month and decreased by more than 5% when compared with the same period last year. At the same time, more than 900 companies filed for business closure in March alone, with a combined capital value of 3.3 billion baht. Most companies closing their doors are in the construction, real estate, and entertainment industries. The Deputy Commerce Minister indicated that the number of business closures in March alone skyrocketed by more than 104% when compared with the 2011 March figure. An overwhelming 2,700 companies have already closed down in the first quarter of this year, or a 96% increase from last year. The inability to adapt and handle the sudden increases in production costs, namely labor and energy, are being claimed as the major causes of persistent losses, which eventually led to business shutdowns. Other reasons included not being able to meet corporate goals planned, while the impact of natural disasters only made up 1% of the causes of business closures. The evaluation of the Committee of Thai Airways International gave a passing mark to the TG president after recognizing his perseverance in solving the airline's deficit problems arising from last year's flood calamity. The board of directors will affirm the committee's decision in mid-May. The impact from last year's flood took a toll on Thai Airways International, leaving it 10 billion baht in the red. As a result, there has been a great deal of speculation about the future of Thai President Piyasawat Amaranan if he fails to pass the airline's evaluation. Nonetheless, in its last meeting, chaired by Arapong Puchaum, Permanent Secretary of the Finance Ministry, the evaluation committee passed Piyasawat for his commitment to turning the company around. Despite the huge 10 billion baht deficit in 2011, TG President Piyasawat managed to push the airline into profit again this January. In the first 3 months of this year, the average earnings were satisfactory and the average passenger load is at 79.2% and is expected to continue improving. The evaluation committee will forward its decision to the board of directors on May the 20th. Transportation experts and consumer networks are now asking the government to abolish all registrations of public vans as public service vehicles because they don't reach safety standards. They also add the use of radio frequency identification device or RFID in monitoring the speed of public vans might not be as effective as there were about 80 road accidents involving public vans in the past 5 months.
Today, April 30th, is Thai Consumer Protection Day. The Consumer Network has revealed that 81 road accidents, killing 113 people and injuring 1,300 were either directly or indirectly involving public vans. The Consumer Network also suggests that the government checks the condition of a van's engine before allowing it to be registered as a public service van. Additionally, there is currently no central depot for such vehicles, as there are for other forms of public transport. Many suggest that if the majority of vans will not comply with speed limits or safety standards, Thailand might as well abolish all registration of public vans for use as public service vehicles. On the issue of speeding, Raksit Titiput Thanapong, a research engineer from the National Electronics and Computer Technology Centre, suggests that the government stops using RFID, as it is not effective in monitoring the speed of public vans in real time, claiming that the GPS system is a better alternative. The Consumer Network points out that the policy of increasing transport fares must be implemented together with a working safety policy.
Tomorrow is International Labour Day, and the Unregistered Labour Network is asking the Labour Ministry to push forward the Unregistered Labour Protection Act, as well as to control the price of consumer goods, as the 300 baht minimum wage policy will not be applied to unregistered labourers. Punsap Suwan Mueang Tulapan, director of the Foundation for Labour and Employment Promotion, reveals that the 24 million unregistered labourers are still exploited by their employer, as the wages for unregistered labour is often just 1/10 of that registered labour. For International Labour Day tomorrow, home workers have asked the Labour Ministry to push forward the Unregistered Labour Protection Act and set up a committee on home workers in an effort to push forward this legislation and improve the situation of unregistered labour. Dr. Prateep Thanakit Jaran, Deputy Secretary of the National Health Security Organization, says that the health and security of unregistered labor still has to be improved, especially in the area of occupational health, as most labor are impacted by their work environment, which can cause poor health. Yesterday, Thai PBS and the Basic Education Department held a youth street basketball tournament in the middle of Siam Square, which is a favorite meeting point for teenage Thais. The effort is to offer an activity for the youngsters to help them stay away from trouble.
3, 2, 1
With over 60 basketball teams from across the country going through the elimination rounds, 16 teams finally made it to the final. The Youth Street Sports Basketball 2012 tournament has 4 categories: under 15 boys, under 15 girls, under 18 boys, and under 18 girls. The other attractions at the games were also worth watching, as 20 finalists from the cover dance competition brought their best to the stage, occupying an entire car park at Siam Square and broadcasting the tournament live. Have also delighted parents, teachers, coaches, and of course the young players themselves. Executives of Thai PBS and the Basic Education Department say more of these sport activities, which enhance friendship and good health for the young, are also on the agenda. And that's all the time we have for tonight's broadcast. I'm Super John Klin Sawan saying good night for now. Sawasdee krap.